Welcome everyone to my channel. I'm Andrea, your automated trader. If you like what I do, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like on my videos. In this new video, we'll see how to continue programming our expert advisor that we started in the previous videos. This was the expert advisor we were writing in the previous videos. So let's see how to solve the problem it had because it was opening many positions at the same time. We added this part of the code that checks the open positions. Let's go through line by line what we've added. First, we define open, so this is the number of positions that are open from our expert advisor. It's an integer because obviously positions are 1, 2, 3. It's not like you can have 1.5. Then we go on to create another integer variable, the total number of positions. And we do this by naming our variable and setting it equal to position total, which is actually an MQL5 function that gives us the total number of positions currently open on our MetaTrader. So this includes both positions from this expert advisor and from other expert advisors. Next, we define a ulong variable, so a long, which we call ticket. This will be the ticket that we are going to retrieve. To check how many positions the expert has opened, we need to use this for loop. So a classic for loop where we initialize an integer variable a that goes from 0 to less than the total number of positions. Starting from 0, we analyze all the positions that are open in MetaTrader. When we analyze this position, the first thing we do is save the ticket, which is like the address or the name of the position. Then we have a check, an if statement on this line, which basically checks whether the magic number of the position is equal to that of our expert, because we want to count how many positions our expert has opened. So if we have 50 open positions, with this check, we verify if there is already a position opened by our expert. If this check is true, our pos open, meaning the open positions, becomes 1 because it has found an open position. So we close the parentheses and the check is finished. Basically, we initialize this pos open as 0. So if we loop through the positions and don't find any, it will remain 0. Or if we already find that a position has been opened, this will always take the value of 1. What do we need this for? In the next part, we have included where we have the conditions to buy and where we have the conditions to sell, that pos open must be 0. That is, basically, there must not be any other positions already open. Because in the case of the loop, it goes through the positions, finds an open position from our expert. This is 1, so no, it can't make another buy. On the other hand, if it's 0, there's nothing open, it enters, buy, sell, whatever it may be, it opens a position, and from then on it will always be 1, so it won't be able to enter this part of the code anymore, and we won't be able to make other trades at the same time. Another thing that I slightly changed just now are the points we had set for stop loss and take profit, because we had put 100 and 200, but those values were too small because now we're testing it on gold, so it's more reasonable to set, for example, 1,000 and 2,000. This is just to try it out and move forward with our expert's programming. So let's go to MetaTrader and see if it works. We have our expert, we run it over a period, we enable visual mode so we can see what happens, and let's take a look. With a bit more speed. Okay, it has successfully opened the position. What was happening before, that is to say the previous issues, doesn't happen anymore at all. It opened one single position, carefully set its stop loss and the target up here at 1,000 and 2,000, just precisely as we initially set them. So everything is indeed working exactly as expected. Let's move on and carefully observe what happens next. In this particular case, we unfortunately hit the stop loss, the position was then closed, and everything still seems to be working perfectly. Let's let it run a little bit faster now. Let's look at the chart. There was a period where it went sideways, then it went up a bit, but in any case, you can see that it always opened one position at a time. We have all these steps that represent our position hitting the target or the stop, but in any case, it was always one position at a time. Now let's see how we can improve the efficiency of our expert. Since we're always working with H1 data at the moment, because the moving averages and the entire expert operate on H1, it's excessive to run our entire calculation package on every tick. That's because until there's a new bar, in this case on H1, we won't see any differences since we're always reading the bar that has just closed. To address this, we need to operate on each bar. Let's see how to do it. The first thing we need to do is define this integer variable bar_total, which will tell us the total number of bars present on our chart. Why do we need this? Because every time this number changes, it means a new bar has been added to the chart. Then we go and insert these 3 or 4 lines of code where we define an integer variable for the bars. We read it with this function, ibars. The symbol is taken from the chart, so wherever we've placed the expert. Right now I'm using M1, so every time there's a new 1-minute bar, meaning every minute, I recalculate my parameters. After that, I add an if statement, meaning if the total number of bars is different from bars. So if the old total is different from the number of bars I'm reading, it means there's a new bar, and then I update the total number of bars to the new number of bars. Then, inside this if check, so from here on down, I insert all the code I had written before, and I close the bracket here, so everything will be under this if statement. This allows me to recalculate every minute in this case. If I don't want to do it every minute, I can change this value here. I can set it to H1 or M15, M5, whatever I need. For our expert, it's better to keep it at every minute for now, so it's not too heavy. The expert will work better and we won't lose any data anyway, because doing it every tick was too demanding in terms of memory and processing. So let's go ahead and compile what we've coded and see if it works. Let's compile. Let's go to MetaTrader. In this case, the visual mode. We saw earlier that it worked. Let's see. And we can see that the chart has basically stayed the same as before, even though we're doing fewer calculations. In the next video, we'll continue coding our expert. We'll see how to add an RSI filter, and we'll also see how to change the target and the stop loss using precise percentage values. So please stay tuned so you absolutely do not miss it. If you genuinely like the video, please leave a like and kindly subscribe to the channel. When we successfully reach 1,000 dedicated subscribers, I will definitely start a live stream where I will proudly show you my actual real trading account 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.